Hey there, Starcraft 2 fans. Today we're going to be analyzing a 3v3 on the map Dig Site. That's a very common 3v3 map. I run into it quite frequently when I'm playing 3v3. The players we're going to be having today on the southwest side are Ballaholic as the blue Terran, Slothicans, the red Zerg, Starbreaker, the teal or cyan Terran. Up here in the northeast corner we have Nick as the purple Zerg, Violent Player, which is myself, as the yellow Terran, and Spider-Man, the orange Zerg. You'll notice from the conversation here at the beginning we get going, one of the players suggests to go ahead and rush. You'll notice that Spider-Man actually is going for an early spawning pool. It's an 8 pool, so he's actually planning on putting on some very early pressure. Right now he continues to get some drones. Same thing for Nick, he's just going to drone up for a little bit. In this match I actually decide to go a little bit more economical build instead of rushing. I know that the two Zerg players are going to be able to put on a lot of pressure with the early Zerglings. Definitely not an issue. Down here looking at Slothicans, the red Zerg, he has a spawning pool going down. Looks like about a 9 pool or so. He's at 10 supply right now, you can see. The blue Terran, he is currently looking at 12 supply, throwing up his barracks. Same thing for the teal Terran, also going 12 supply, just getting the barracks going down. Doing a little bit of scouting around. So right now, not too much activity. Let's speed things up just a bit. We do have one drone scouting around here, just checking out each of the players, doing a little harassment on the SCV. Actually, almost kills that SCV. Some Zerglings coming out for the red Zerg player. Take a look up here at the orange Zerg, obviously going that early spawning pool, but unfortunately hasn't put on any early pressure yet. Typically if you get up that many Zerglings out of your spawning pool that early, you're definitely going to want to put on some more early pressure than that. So would like to have seen a little bit more pressure put on, a little bit earlier attack. You can see that they're pinging down here, definitely want to go after this teal Terran player. So orange is going to come up here. Notice that the gate's blocked. With that defensive Marine there, definitely not going to want to push that. He's going to come over here to the red Zerg player. Also see some defense with the spine crawler and the other Zerglings, and then back out. Now, it's critical to note that when this type of thing happens, and you have these defenses where you can't do any actual damage with your units, then you just have to keep scouting around and look for a place where you can do some damage. You'll notice that purple actually asked him to wait for him. He'll be coming along here quite soon with some Zerglings. He only has about 6 or 7 Zerglings right now, but he's getting ready to go. So we'll speed up here until he's ready to attack. When purple moves down here, we'll see the start of the game. He does request that orange go ahead and check the expansions. It's definitely critical to keep these units scouting around. If you don't intend to do anything with them at the immediate time, keep them moving around the map. Definitely do some scouting. Never know where there could be a hidden unit, a hidden base, some hidden tech buildings, anything like that. You definitely want to scout around and see what you can find. Purple now moving down, he says that he's ready to go. You'll notice that this watchtower has been claimed, so we have a little bit of vision over the map. Let's just slow things down for a moment and watch what happens here. The orange player basically tests to see what's going on. Notice that one Marine is out of position. Blue notices it. But unfortunately, he drops his supply depot, and with the units on top, he cannot re-raise that supply depot. And now with all these Zerglings in his base, here we have about 20 Zerglings. Purple brought in about, I don't even know how many Zerglings. Right there is 17, definitely more than that though. Takes out all the SCVs immediately to do all the economic damage, and then starts working on the buildings. Of course, with Terran, you can raise your buildings, and you'll notice that he is going to definitely get those off the ground so he can mitigate some of the damages. The Zerg player is going to go ahead and take out the rest of the supply depots and the refinery up here. Now, since so much damage has been done to this one player, it's definitely a good time to move along. You don't want to isolate yourself too much on one base, trying to do as much damage as possible, which unfortunately is what I decided to do here. This was really a mistake on my part to follow this barracks around when I should have been following my teammates, helping them do a little bit more damage. So you'll notice that purple's going to go ahead and march down here to the red Zerg, see if he can do a little bit of damage. Let's go ahead and speed that along. Okay, so here we go. He's going to come in. Now, obviously, with that spine crawler, he's going to be able to do some significant damage. With the Baneling's Nest, he does have, looks like 3 Banelings out, which against Zerglings is just going to completely destroy them, which we will see here. Goes ahead and brings the Banelings around, trying to get a flank, but unfortunately with his Zerglings doing a lot of attacking, he's not able to push forward. Now, some of the Banelings do get in here, take out a couple of Zerglings. These Zerglings up here working on this spine crawler. Obviously, this is a good spine crawler placement. Let's take a look at that real quick. The spine crawler placement between the Baneling's Nest and the spawning pool does not allow the Zerglings to get a good surround, which is definitely going to keep down the amount of damage that the Zerglings are going to do. This spine crawler is going to stay intact as a result of the inaccessibility of the Zerglings to get to that particular building. So he does manage to hold that attack off. Teal actually comes over to help take away some of the extra Zerglings that Orange had sent up. And now we're back basically where we started. Now Blue did manage to float his buildings up here to the gold expansion, which is an island expansion. However, he's bringing his barracks back. Very interesting note, he's bringing his barracks back and lands them on the mainland. And obviously the reason he's doing this is so that he can get his units out onto the mainland as opposed to having to somehow transit them over from his island expansion. Now he did go a 5 racks initially. He was obviously intending to put on some early aggression with a lot of marine pressure, do a lot of damage in that sense. But unfortunately, when those Zerglings came into his base, that plan was shut down. So you'll notice that this team now decides to put on a little bit of pressure back against our team. They're going to go ahead and push out with a small fleet of Marines, some Zerglings. But unfortunately, Orange did an apt counter. Got those Banelings out. He saw that really the only thing there were Zerglings and Marines at the time. Never really saw the Thor. He never scouted a Thor. 1 Baneling took out 5 Zerglings there, so that's a very effective attack. Now these Zerglings, due to the amount of other Zerglings, the red Zerglings or red Banelings there are, wasn't able to do a lot of damage. They're going to come in here and not sure what they're doing. They're just kind of moving around a little bit. So I decided to kite those around a little bit, obviously, because I don't want to lose my entire flock of Marines. This 1 Thor, however, doing significant damage to my forces, as well as Orange's base here. Definitely a problem. However, I would like to note that I believe Teal has a couple of more Thors somewhere. Actually, he must have lost them. So that was their entire army. They are now down to very little army in terms of army count. You'll see that Teal does have 800 army in terms of units, and Red actually does not have any army now. So that was their entire force. If we were to move out now with anything that we had, we would definitely do some more significant damage to them. You can see that in the meantime I flew over here, took out this island expansion. Definitely something you want to do. If you see a player move out, fly away, if it's a Terran player, or if it's a Protoss or Zerg player, and you see one of their workers move out while you're attacking their base, take a look at where that worker's going, because most likely he's headed for an expansion. So since I knew that Blue had flown away, even taking his barracks with him when we did the initial attack, I knew that he was going to the island expansion because that's the most safe location he could go to, knowing that we didn't have any air units yet. Since that was taken out, all he had left were his barracks. He was able to fly again down to the mainland, so now he's long-distance mining as a result of the destructible rocks. So he's using his mules to get some extra income, meanwhile producing some SCVs to help bring in some extra income as well. He did have 4 Marines, but realistically that's not much. So let's go ahead and speed things up here. You'll notice during this time Purple did manage to get an expansion. One thing I did want to mention is during this time, always a good time to expand. I'm sitting on 500 minerals, Purple's sitting on nearly enough for an expansion. Orange is sitting on nearly enough for an expansion. So during this time when we know we had done so much damage, they had no army, this is definitely the time you want to look to expand. You'll notice I did just fly down here with my expansion. In this time I wish that Orange had also expanded. If we take a look at the income tab here, you'll notice that Orange is lagging behind in the worker count, only 14, whereas the Purple Zerg player does have 24.